knifing in corn as far as AGROTAIN is concerned. What about that?
And Mark, that's a question that comes up a lot with AGROTAIN, and we'd like to talk a little bit about it. And when we talk about knifing in, we're talking about knifing in UAN solution.
Very good.
And in this UAN solution, and the picture on the screen illustrates it well, this type of application is ideal. It places the nitrogen between the rows. It places it into the soil. These are all good things. But what we often notice, even in knife applications, is that the slit where the nitrogen goes into the soil in certain soil conditions doesn't seal. And when that happens, oftentimes we don't get the full benefit of the nitrogen because we have volatilization equal to or greater than what we would if it was just surface applied.
Very interesting. Go ahead.
In addition to the UAN will be lost unless the slit is sealed. And soil conditions in the slit, by the way, are ideal because there you have your moisture, you have the high volumes of urease in the soil because the residue as well is in there. We have the potential, and this is a big one that most of us growers really want to avoid, is we have crop damage and sometimes root pruning if we're not careful. So we need to do a good job with this. And I might be able to illustrate this a little better with this drawing, and most of us that have this type of operation have witnessed this from time to time, and that's where the side dress rig will go in, inject the UAN solution into the soil, and oftentimes we will find out that no closure occurs here. Now, there's several things we can do. It's a good practice, and if you can somehow make sure that this is mechanically closing the slit mark, then in an instance like that, I would not recommend AGROTAIN to you. But oftentimes we find out that a lot of it's still exposed to loss. Yes, it is. And due to that, and John will show you in a little bit, we actually achieve yield goals when we use AGROTAIN in injected or knifed in processes.
Very good. So again, looking at the how, the when, and the why, growers using AGROTAIN in this practice.
Well, in this practice, it would have been good, even a side dress application. And in the early years, we would say, if you're getting it into the soil, you really don't need AGROTAIN in a side dress if it's in the soil, if it's knifed in. But oftentimes, if we're not sealing up the trench, AGROTAIN is a good investment in that as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, and again, looking at the research side, John, as it relates to knifing in UAN.
Yes, we have a study out of Virginia Tech recently turned into us that looked at using UAN in a dribble situation compared to UAN that's been treated with AGROTAIN. You can see that at the 90-pound rate that there is a 17 bushel advantage. At the 110 rate, there was a 15 bushel advantage, and at the 130 rate, a 36 bushel advantage, which all means that the AGROTAIN treated urea ammonium nitrate is protected, is providing more nitrogen to the plant, which ends up with more money in the pockets of the grower.
Right. Another application that can definitely, again, different outcomes depending on the situation of our viewers here tonight and whether or not, what measures you take in this case as far as knifing in. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That would be even knifing in. If you're not closing it, why you need to have the protection of the AGROTAIN products.
And you do research on this as well. I mean, during the growing season, you'll have additional research on some of your test plots that might show.
That's correct.
How it's used and how it's helped.
That's correct. In fact, I think Alan has some pictures that may show of a study that was done, which looked at a dye study.
Yeah, it was the one before that right there. I don't know if we can go back or not. We missed that slide. But,
yeah, I'm not sure if we, but if we don't.
There it is right
okay,
there.
Good,
and this was a very interesting test, and we did this. This is actually a coulter with a knife behind it, and what we did was we put a fluorescent dye on it and pulled it through the field, and this rig went through the field at 5.5, 6 miles an hour and heavy residue, and we were all surprised when you shot it to see where the product ended up. It basically, a lot of the UAN, and that's UAN represented there in that dye, is actually on the surface.
Very good.
So that's an illustration that you can't see every day, and sometimes you can't see the UAN, but in this case with the dye, it clearly shows what can happen, Mark.
And that equates to loss.
And that equates to loss.
Yep.
All right, viewers, great information. We're not done yet. We're going to take a break, come back, and learn more about where, when, and how to use AGROTAIN. You're watching RFD-TV, rural America's most important network. We'll be right back.